It's a damp winter afternoon. Stan Moritz shuffles around his kitchen, starts the kettle, grabs a few mugs, getting ready for a cup of tea with his wife. For most of us, this is a small task, but for Stan, making tea was nearly impossible to do just a few years back. You see, Stan had lung disease.
Cheers! Cheers!
The fancy name is idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Essentially, it's scarring of the lung tissue. In Stan's case, the disease was a side effect from a prescription drug he took to treat a different illness.
One of the side effects of the drug is that it causes pulmonary fibrosis in 17% of people that take it. So I guess I'm one of the 17%.
The doctor diagnosed Stan 2 weeks before his wedding. Not wanting to drag his love into his health issues, Stan gave his fiancée a chance to bail out. She didn't take it.
My biggest thing is I'd rather have him for a short time rather than not at all. And so we decided, it was 2 weeks before we were getting married, and we just went ahead and got married. And I haven't regretted it for a moment.
That was 12 years ago, and since then he's received a lung transplant. The provincial director of BC Transplant says Stan is one of the lucky ones because lungs are one of the most difficult organs to transplant.
When people have lung disease, it's often kind of a double-edged sword. You get sick from lung disease, you need a transplant, but if you're too sick and on a breathing machine in an ICU somewhere, that's too sick to survive transplantation.
Lungs also need to be the right size, and in the process of dying, lungs become fragile and it makes it difficult to use them.
I think there's probably around 20 people on the list waiting, and in an average year, we might lose 6 or 8 who'll die before they get a transplant.
To get on the list, Stan first had to lose over 100 pounds. That took nearly 4 years. Then he was given a pager. If the pager went off, it meant they had a lung.
On May 7th, 2009, at 10:36 in the morning, I still remember the time, my pager went off.
Yeah, it brings back lots of memories, that's for sure.
It's been 3 years since Stan's transplant. He's now the president of the Pacific Trust Transplant Foundation, a Victoria-based group that helps people and their families going through the transplant process.
One, we would like to see a rehab program available to all transplant patients. We would also like to see financial assistance available to help people who have to spend 3 to 4 months in Vancouver.
And another challenge that's facing his group is registered organ donors. Not enough people are signing the cards, and more people think of donating kidneys than lungs.
With kidneys, any size kidney would work. My kidney would work actually in a child. They'd get a super kidney. But lungs have to be exactly the right size.
Right now, about 17% of the province is signed up as an organ donor, slightly higher here in Victoria at 19%. But ask anybody who's been through it. Those numbers aren't high enough.
Being on the receiving end, you just can't begin to express how grateful you are to people for taking the time and the energy to fill out that card and giving somebody that you love an opportunity to continue on in life. It's an amazing gift.
In Victoria, I'm Jen Muranetz for The Daily.